Tractors at Mississippi Ag. Visit agup.com to find a retail location near you.
Let's go.
You can watch the show on Facebook right now. Search the Out of Bounds Show. Facebook, search the Out of Bounds Show. We are WRKS, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. The SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue. The official healthcare provider of the Out of Bounds Show. Good morning, good morning. Thanks for hitting up the podcast. Apple Podcast. Search the Out of Bounds Show. Would love for you to hit subscribe, too. We're also on Spotify. What's the other one? Podbean. Yeah. My good friend Robert St. John down in Hattiesburg tells me that you can, I guess, talk to Alexa and just say 105.9 The Zone. Boom. Streaming the show in your house, in your gym, in your home office, at your office, right? I mean, we got to bring more people into the circus. So I'm counting on you. If everybody finds one more listener by the end of the afternoon, we'll be even thousands and thousands and thousands more. So, I do want to thank you for listening to the show, and thank you for hitting up the podcast. You can watch us right now live on Facebook. Search the Out of Bounds Show. We'll have Parrish Alford, the man, the myth, the legend, djournal.com, Ole Miss. He's got his Ole Miss page on Facebook. It's really well done. And he keeps that thing clean and fresh, uploading new content all the time. He will join us on the Modelo guest line. Just want to let you know that Mudbugs, which I don't think they open. Oh, today's Wednesday. I thought it was Tuesday. Mudbugs does open today. Mudbugs has Modelo on draft. So you go and get some crawfish, best crawfish in Mississippi. And their shrimp is amazing. On Sunday, we got back from the beach, and I went to Mudbugs, and I grabbed 13 pounds of crawfish and 1.5 pounds of shrimp and some mushrooms. Delicious. Last night, my daughter cut up some of the mushrooms, put them on her cheeseburger, which I thought was brilliant. So anyway, shout out to Mudbugs and Matt and the team there. Best crawfish in Mississippi, 2 locations in Rankin County, Reservoir, and Brandon. I've got Blake Scott with me. I'm your host, Bo Bounds, and thanks for listening to the show. Ed Ogeron is making $8.7 million a year, which means that any of you should be able to trip over $300,000 or $400,000. So let me go down the list, Blake. Saban, $9.1 million. Orgeron, $8.7 million.
Woof.
And Mullen, $7.6 million. Dan Merlin's coming in at $7.6 million. He's worth every dollar. He's won double-digit games in 3 years.
Off the top of your head,
He may not have gotten a double. This year they only played 10 and then 11. So he won 10 and then 11 his
Correct.
First 2 years. And so he's got Florida going in the right direction. And he'll probably embarrass Kirby Smart, who should be light years better this year, but has no idea how to move the ball.
Just real quick, how many coaches off the top of your head would you pick before you pick that Orgeron in college football? Just give me, go down the list real quick.
Saban, Dabo, Lincoln Riley, Leach, Kiffin, Mullen. Oh, gosh. Let's see. Let me keep going here.
Would you take Purdue, Brom?
Yes, I'd take Brom.
Satterfield, maybe?
Yes.
Matt Campbell?
Yes. Yes. Matt Campbell has beat how many top 30 and top 20
At
recruiters?
Iowa State.
And they recruit like 57.
They're terrible.
Yeah, Matt Campbell is a wonderful, wonderful head coach. I cannot believe he's still at Iowa State. Let me keep rolling through.
It's just interesting.
Well, obviously Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, Ryan Day. I'd take Ryan Day, even though I don't know him.
I think so. I don't know enough quite about him. I mean, obviously he walked into an absolute monster. I'd take James Franklin.
Yep. Just off the eye test alone, there's so many offenses that are run by coach. You know what I mean? Like that you just say, I would take him before I take Orgeron.
You know what would be tough is Jimbo or Eddie O. I think I'd lean towards Jimbo, although I don't like Jimbo's offensive approach.
But he's got more positive years across his resume, whereas Orgeron, again, is like always come back to is like you've got one outlying year. Like if you're investing in a business and they tell you we've done $1 million in sales, we've been open for 5 years, and you go, oh, so you've done 200,000 a year, you've been growing. What? It's like no, we did 800,000 the first year, and we've done 15,000 every year after that. Well, are they worth $1 million, or did they just have one odd year? It's the same thing with Ed Orgeron. He had one odd year out of 30.
But that happens if we really want to extrapolate that and then incorporate it into life. That's what most businessmen hit one lick.
But you need to have a higher floor, I think, and that's the issue with Orgeron.
TJ, I can name 4. I mean, most guys hit one deal for 3, 6, 15 million, and then they kind of do something. I mean, it is very rare that the guy is talented enough to hit.
I don't disagree with that. You don't have to be Saban where you hit a lick every 5 minutes, but Orgeron has lost money for 29 years and just had one good season. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference. At least Jimbo's worst season was an odd year at Florida State. Other than that, he's at least won 8 games almost every season minimum.
David Shaw, but Fitzgerald at Northwestern. I mean, yeah, we could go on and on. Anyway,
but he's the second paid coach in the country.
But he's making hey, the joke's on us, not on Ed Orgeron. He's making $8.7 million a year. I'm trying to run the numbers real quick on that. What is that's $700,000 and change a month? That's not bad. Yeah, $700 and change. I think right off the top of my head, and he's got bonuses in there, so he's doing the deal, getting mega. He's getting great grandkids wealthy. How about that? Not a bad deal. We're going to go to the phones. Farm Bureau Insurance is part of the show, and we're happy to have them. We're going to go to the Modelo guest line. Welcome in Parrish Alford, djournal.com. Ole Miss discussion with Parrish Alford on Facebook. And Parrish, good morning. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to navigate my way through conspiracy theories down here. So I have to ask you the question as someone who has covered Ole Miss baseball for 20 years. Do you believe that John Cohen could manipulate 9 other committee members to, quote, unquote, make the Mississippi State Regional easier and the Ole Miss Regional more difficult?
I don't believe that he could flat out manipulate that committee like that. But I'll tell you, you know how committees work. You get in there and you form relationships and friendships. And I don't think there was a conscious effort to create this substandard regional in Starkville, but there's a mutual respect that is gained from committee members toward one another. And, you know, I think having your guy on the committee is a good thing. I mean, I don't think that they would work to do the other thing. You know, I don't work to go the other way. I don't think they would necessarily work to make that an extremely difficult regional and take this, traveling 1 seed like an ODU and send them there. They weren't going to go that way. I've seen the RPIs on the Starkville Regional versus some others, but the fact that there are no Power Fives there outside of Mississippi State, that's, it looks like a regional that State should be able to handle without a lot of stress.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I mean, these mid-majors jump up and bite the Power Five guys all the time.
They can do it.
During the season and postseason, right?
Yeah, and Ole Miss is facing a pitcher that could happen to them Friday night. But,
he's big time.
I look at this. As far as seeding goes, there's going to be this kind of discussion like every year. I felt like in 2018 when Ole Miss was the number 4 national seed, they got a mid-major in Tennessee Tech that was really seeded. It was too strong a team to go to the number 4 national seed, I thought. All right, that year. Okay, so seeding didn't really work out for Ole Miss that year. When Ole Miss wasn't as strong in 2019, they got a regional field that I thought was more in line with what they should have gotten in 2018. There was not just a dynamite team there in 2019, but that's just that's the way it is. And I thought Scott Berry had interesting comments, after the selection show when he talked about, he's looking at this from the mid-major perspective, and you and I, covering the SEC, have heard the argument about these are the best teams. We play the best teams. Strength of schedule is always going to be there with the conference teams that we play. All the metrics are going to be there for the SEC teams, and that's a good argument. That's strong. But there are good mid-major teams. There are good mid-majors.
Sure.
Southern Miss is one of them. Tech is one of them. And when you look at it like that, and see that there were only 9 at-large bids, 9 for the mid-majors to kind of fight over. That's interesting. I can see both sides of that argument.
Sure. Parrish Alford, djournal.com, Ole Miss Insider on the Modelo guest line. Ole Miss will host this weekend. And as Parrish alluded to, they'll play Southeast Missouri State, who has a phenomenal pitcher, ace, so to speak, who I think is 9-1 with a sub 2.5 ERA. What can you tell me about Southeast Missouri State's ace pitcher, Parrish?
Well, I know the numbers are really good, and that's all to know. I've seen those. I haven't seen him pitch or anything like that. But look, I mean, one guy can get you. One guy can change the game, and we saw that. We've seen that with Ole Miss before when years ago Western Kentucky threw out, I believe, a fifth-year senior that hadn't produced much. Might have had like a 5 ERA, and he just pitched the game of his life. I mean, that guy on the mound can change things, and I think Ole Miss players understand that. I think that they are approaching this matchup with a lot of respect.
Who do you think, and they may have announced, you may have already posted it, what direction does Mike Bianco go Friday on the mound?
I don't think that's been announced. I know there's a lot of discussion for throwing Derek Diamond. I know that's something they're really looking at. That may be the way they go, and holding Doug Nikhazy for a Saturday game against Southern Miss or Florida State. We'll just see. I don't think that's been announced, but I kind of think that's the way it's trending.
Wow. Okay, so Derek Diamond is obviously very talented. Nikhazy, you could argue, is the best pitcher in the country, best starter in the country. Interesting. So if you roll out Derek Diamond against Southeast Missouri State's ace, boy, that's some risk reward there, Parrish.
Well, it is. Derek Diamond has a lot of talent, and we've seen Derek Diamond pitch well this year. Ole Miss, all those guys who had not pitched well since Gunnar Hoagland's injury, Derek Diamond, Drew McDaniel, really some bullpen guys, had a great SEC tournament. Okay, what we haven't seen from those two Ole Miss starters since the Hoagland injury, after Nikhazy, Daniel, what we haven't seen is those guys put together back-to-back great starts. All right, and now they're coming back home. They're not in that pitcher's park as they were in Hoover, and that plays into it. I think they've got the ability to really pitch well and be assets for Ole Miss in this regional. I think they can do that. They haven't put strong starts back-to-back, and they've got to do that this weekend.
All right. They played really well boy, there's something about Bianco and Hoover, Parrish. I mean, they go over there every year and play till at least Saturday. What do you think it is?
I don't know. I was looking at this team going in based on that pitching, based on the depth of starting pitching that is so much less without Hoagland, based on how those guys have thrown the last month, and thinking that I could be over there for a really short stay. But they play well there. And, in lots of teams, it's not just Ole Miss, Bo. Lots of teams in postseason find that guy to come in and elevate his game. And there's just something about, maybe it's just opportunities when you get into tournament play and guys, suddenly are called on that weren't called on in certain roles before. And I'm thinking a guy like Tyler Myers on that Friday game out pitching Jack Leiter. Who would have thought that Tyler Myers with 2 starts this season, one against Little Rock, one against somebody else, mostly a bullpen guy, 5 1/3 innings, his career long, that was in 2019, comes out and throws 7 innings, keeps Vanderbilt off the scoreboard. I mean, it's just that's the kind of thing that you sometimes see in postseason, and Ole Miss seems to get that in Hoover.
And so it looks to me like you don't ever know if it's going to translate week to week, but they're playing really good baseball coming off, 4 good days in Hoover. Parrish?
Yeah, they are. They're playing well. I tell you what they didn't do in Hoover that they've done well most of the years hit.
Right.
And there are different things. Hey, it was windy, all of this. Pitcher's Park, it's a little bit different. Outfield, those you got to hit a little harder to get it out of there. Those outfielders have got more room to make catches. But this team just really didn't hit well in Hoover beyond putting up 7 runs the first night against Auburn. And they faced some really good pitching. You don't score a lot of runs against Kumar Rocker. And Tim Elko had a great game that second night against Vanderbilt. So there were some moments, but just, they had a Tuesday, they had a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to put up some runs and really just didn't dominate in any of those games.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. They need to flip that switch. And, a guy in Dylan Dodd who has a dynamite ERA, what does that ERA translate to if he plays an SEC season? Is that a 3.5 ERA instead of a 2.5? It doesn't diminish the fact that he's an outstanding pitcher, but maybe those numbers look a little bit different if he pitched against an SEC schedule.
No, and you're referencing the Southeast Missouri State ace, and
yes.
that's a great point too. That's a good point on that. Parrish Alford, Ole Miss Insider, djournal.com. Ole Miss discussion with Parrish Alford on Facebook. He joins us on the Modelo guest line, and Ole Miss will take on Southeast Missouri State on Friday night. They're going to play the night game. Mississippi State's going to play a day game, and that they both may have to kind of navigate their way through some rain. We'll just have to see, how it looks. And then Southern Miss and Florida State will play the first game. Do I have that right, Parrish?
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
Mike Martin Jr. at Florida State. Mike Martin Sr. steps down, so Mike Martin Jr. is leading the way for the FSU Seminoles. And you mentioned Scott. Southern's got 3 veteran pitchers that go for them.
Right.
Parrish, I don't know if you had a chance to look at that, but just because of, I guess, combination of COVID and other things, they're young in the lineup, but they're veterans and have a lot of innings under them in the starting rotation at Southern Miss. Did you see that?
Yeah, I know they've they're really good on the mound. I think their number 2 guy, Saturday guy, I forget his name right now, Conference USA Pitcher of the Year. They've got some talent there, and so I haven't looked at their roster. Are you saying they've benefited like a lot of teams from some guys hanging around, coming back for that extra year? It sounds like.
Yeah, no question. And I want to talk about Drew McDaniel. What do you think? How's he trending, and what do you make of him throwing the baseball the last couple of weeks?
Well, again, it's so similar to Derek Diamond's story right now. Highly recruited, a guy that they thought would come in and would be a weekend arm at some point, be a part of that SEC rotation. And when he got the opportunity, really because Diamond was slipping a little bit. Diamond hadn't put those quality starts back to back as he did on opening day against Texas. So important for Ole Miss in that first series there in Arlington, and just didn't have that same consistency. Mike Bianco made that switch at that point in the season around the start of conference play. It might have been the time when Maybe that was when Nikhazy got hurt. He missed a couple of starts, but McDaniel got up in that rotation and pitched well. But again, we just haven't seen it from those guys. Haven't seen the command, the second time through the order, that sort of thing. Teams kind of get their timing and get the sweet spot of the bat on those fastballs. It just haven't seen that. Great pitchers are going to have it every time they go out, and we haven't
like Doug
seen that.
Nikhazy.
Yeah, haven't seen that from McDaniel or Diamond to this point in their careers.
Who needs to get? Well, you may have several. Who needs to get hot in the lineup, Parrish?
This has been a strange lineup for Ole Miss because 1 to 9 they've had guys who can hit. Now they've tailed off here a little bit at the end. Hayden Leatherwood didn't have a great Georgia series. Nobody was just outstanding in the SEC tournament. They could use Hayden Leatherwood to get hot again at the bottom of the lineup. He was hitting 400 or more for that stretch in SEC play. Such an important part of them, getting into postseason, getting into that regional host status again. They could use him to warm up. They need Tim Elko to continue to hit. And look, they've got to have guys just hit around them. I mean, this team numerically looks really good batting average, but it hasn't been a team through the season that just hits from inning 1 to inning 9. Mm-hmm. I mean, lots of times you look up at this Ole Miss team and they've got like a 5-run inning. And then it might have a single run and a couple of other innings, or they might have an 8 or a 9-run inning. So many times they've had that really big inning, but lots of times they haven't stretched leads. They haven't really hit throughout the game. So it's been a kind of a different offensive team in that regard. But it would help them if McCants hit well again.
Sure.
He didn't have a good tournament. Had a couple of big hits in that tournament, but didn't overall really hit like he has most of this season.
Yeah, McCants and Gonzalez, special freshman. Parrish Alford, Ole Miss Discussion with Parrish Alford on Facebook and djournal.com. He joined us on the Modelo guest line. All right, Parrish, prediction. Does Ole Miss take the regional?
Yeah, I think they do. I think we see that pitching, see that consistency that we haven't seen from the other starters in the rotation. I think you're going to see more depth. Bullpen pitches better. I think they win the regional. We'll
leave it there. Parrish Alford on the Out of Bounds Show. Thanks, Parrish. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye.
Parrish joined us on the Modelo guest line. Mudbug serves Modelo on draft. Best crawfish in the state of Mississippi. The Out of Bounds Show. Our regional coverage brought to you by XL Water and Coffee. Water at mydoor.com. Water at mydoor.com. How does bottled water delivered to your door sound? Sounds awesome to me. Go to water at mydoor.com. 50% off your initial order with discount code BOUNDS. That's water at mydoor.com. Discount code BOUNDS. Back in a second with Steve Robertson, Hail State